The problem we face today is that men are still committing suicide at extraordinary rates throughout the UK and Australia. In fact, suicide still remains one of the biggest causes of death amongst the 15 to 45 male age group in both the UK and in Australia. Why is that? Did you know that the construction industry in the UK and in Australia has the highest rates of male suicide? From a very early age, the program starts, and as men, we are programmed with a certain set of expectations that we have to live up to. And these expectations have largely been set by a patriarchal, misogynistic, homophobic group. And over time, we have learnt to assimilate these expectations as if they were our own. We've internalized that information and we over time begin to think that it's actually our own belief system. One of these very outdated expectations of men is that the primary emotion of anger is the only emotion that men are allowed to freely express. It seems like a no-brainer to me that if we were actually to start addressing the issue with male suicide, what we need to do is start readdressing those expectations and stereotypes and updating them for a more modern way of living. And that would start by facilitating or supporting men to actually realize that they can talk about their emotions other than anger, and creating environments for men to do that. I think one of the issues connected to that is that some men feel like they can't talk to other men about emotions and feelings other than anger. Like the male relationship has to be about being competitive and being strong and all the rest of it. And it seems that there aren't enough men that have other men in their social network that they can turn to talk about secondary emotions and other things that are happening within their well-being. In order to facilitate this space where men feel they can talk about their feelings and emotions, would be to maybe rewind it back. Now, there's some child development theorists that say by the time a child is 7, they start to display some repetitive behaviors. So personality and character is a long process and it evolves throughout all of your lives. But by the age of 7, there are certain things that are starting to reoccur. So you have to get this kind of behavioral programming, brainwashing. You have to nip it in the bud at a really early stage. So one way of doing that, which I would like to do, is to start talking to men in a very kind of challenging way, because I don't want to make anyone go to places that they're not ready to go to. But I feel like a kind of stepping stone to go into deeper stuff would just be to look at the influences, the male influences that one has had, especially from father figures. I think a father figure is a good place to start. So what is it that you feel today that you have picked up from your father? What kind of beliefs have you picked up from your father? And what kind of beliefs do you feel like you've picked up from society as a whole? Just to start getting awareness of what's actually happened, because you need that awareness to then go deeper and work through it, to be able to then decipher what is your own internal belief system and what it is you've just internalized. And then you can start making changes to your own belief system and start establishing a new way of being that you have devised for yourself. Now, full disclosure, I'm no stranger to depression. I've had bouts of depression from the age of 13 when I did something silly with some child aspirin. And I've looked at, especially going back through my journals, I've been able to identify that most of my really depressive states have come when I've been out of work and felt like I didn't have the ability to earn money. That would 100% send me into a slump, and that's happened quite a few times in my life. I've realized now that things have changed for me because my view on life has changed, and my connection to my environment and the world and the planet as a whole has changed. A lot of it came from being also from not living up to the societal expectation, but also feeling disconnected. That was definitely what kind of drove me into those depressive states. Now what happens, I've realized, is that my vibrations go low. Sometimes I feel low, not depressed. I'm just really aware that my frequency can be low, and that's usually about something completely different. It's usually about how I've been looking after my body, my physical body internally, what I've been eating, have I been doing exercise, that kind of thing. That usually determines when I have these kind of low frequencies. But what I was trying to say is success. So think about what success means for you right now. What is your definition of success right now? And then once you've come to that, you can ascertain whether that is actually just some kind of societal expectation, or whether it's something that comes deep down from your own personal core values. Because I think once you start measuring success in your own terms, it becomes more easy to be successful, and you become less prone to having these moments of doubt and moments of disconnection. I really like the idea of contemplating what I've learned from my dad. What did you learn from your dad? What skills or traits, or I don't know, just what have you learned from your dad? My dad wasn't around very much when I was growing up. He was always, my biggest memory of my dad was like Wednesday nights. He would always, Wednesday was a payday, so Wednesday nights he would be down the pub, come home really late and drunk, and usually get into a fight with my mum being the aggressor. And then Saturday mornings, because he worked Monday to Friday, Saturday mornings he'd be up around 1 o'clock, and then he'll go straight out to the dog track, or not the horse, straight out to the dog track, and he'll come home on Saturday evening and hog the sofa and hog the telly watching wildlife shows. And that's pretty much what I got from my dad. He definitely never got any life lessons from my dad. I never got any sort of support in how to be a person. Definitely didn't get anything that was like intrinsically male. There just wasn't a whole lot of anything there from my dad, so didn't really pick up much from my dad. I kind of think that if I had children, I would definitely be one of those parents that would be trying so desperately hard to do everything differently, to do everything that my dad didn't do. And then when he did pass away, I found myself not mourning him, but mourning the dad that I never had. My dad was actually a very gentle soul. I do have one memory of my dad, which is quite indicative of the whole relationship. I think I must have been about 10. And I remember we were in an elevator, my dad was standing at the back, my sister was standing there, and I was like, still only like waist high to my dad. And I remember leaning into my dad for some kind of hug, and I just remember him being like so straight and stiff, and I think he may have like looked down at me, and that was it. And that was really indicative of what I didn't get and what I would like to have got from my dad. But hey, I'm over it. So how do I measure success now? Success for me now, I am a successful person if I'm able to live a creative life, and now I have some main ambitions in life, which is to reduce animal suffering, to play some kind of part in supporting the planet, and also to support the well-being of not just men, but the well-being of people on this planet. Those are my 3 missions in life. And if I do little bits of those 3 things throughout my life, then I will be successful. And I'm successful. This is the thing, I'm successful already because I'm already doing these things. And I think that's why I've not really had any depressive states of late, because I've redefined what success means to me, and it's now something that I can actually live up to, and it's not some ridiculous set of rules set up by someone else. So that's it. That's my life. But I want to hear about your life. And I want to hear about the lives of as many other men that I can possibly come across. And once I get my little microphone so that the sound quality is a lot better, I want to do some little interviews for this channel so you can all see what I discover. And I'm going to be asking these people about the influences of their father, what they've picked up from their father, and I'm also going to ask them about whether they've actually identified if some of their belief systems have actually just been programmed into them by external forces, and have them consider whether they are really whether it's built on their own innate belief systems. So that's to come.